It is another Rapid Fire Friday episode on the Diabetes Remission Roadmap podcast. Brian is ready to go. I have 3 questions. He can't wait to answer them, and his computer screen is automatically zooming in on his stuffed up nose. So let's get to it. Brian, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All
And
right.
I'm gonna definitely sound nasally, so that's all right.
People love your nasally drone. They are concerned about the amount of allergies in Cincinnati, and I have no answers for them. So you will need to give them answers for these questions. So here goes the first one. Sometimes my CGM, my continuous glucose monitor, makes me afraid of food. Should I even keep using it?
That's a great question. I think I'd ask a further question that needs to be discussed here is why is it making you afraid of food? So that once I have the answer to that, we could definitely dive a little deeper here. But since we don't have that luxury of me asking this person
Yeah, this was not a
question,
question for me, Brian. It was a question from a listener. So you're going
well,
to have to go
let's
without the full
hypothetically
picture.
ask you, Corey, why might a CGM make you afraid of food?
Every time I look at a blueberry, my blood sugar spikes. Every time I have a piece of fruit, or every time I eat, my blood sugar goes up. We'll start with that. Every time I eat something, my blood sugar goes up even just a little bit. I'm freaking
Okay,
out. Okay.
that's normal. That
It's
is what your
normal.
body is
Okay.
supposed to do.
Zero in on
Yes,
that,
yes.
please.
Yeah. So blood sugar going up is not necessarily a bad thing. Our body is going to see a little bit of a spike in blood sugar. It's the really high spikes that are going to be more problematic. And if anything, this we have to look a little bit deeper beyond just the blood sugar spike. So we want to look at how am I feeling? What's my energy like? What's my mood like? What's my hunger like? How's my energy to go along with these blood sugar spikes? Because I think that's where you can get deeper insights to using a CGM. I think CGMs are a great tool, and we've talked about this before because they have what's called basically the Hawthorne effect, which is you feel like you're being watched because you're being watched by yourself. And when you are being watched, you are going to make different choices that are more aligned with if your goal is to see remission from diabetes, aka no more medication required to keep your blood sugar in a healthy range, then seeing foods that are really spiking you up are that's an okay thing. Not to be afraid of food. We've talked about this too, about the intention, heavy intention behind the choices of what you're going to eat something. You talked about this, I think, on your most recent YouTube video that was just posted. A little plug for that is when you a good sign is actually when you feel bad from eating food. Now, you want to explain that a little more, Corey, or me to try to recap what you did here?
So I'm going to put a pin on this. A good sign is that you actually feel bad from eating. Well, I'll answer that one and I'm going to go back. So a good sign that you feel bad after eating food is here's what I mean by that. And yes, you can check this out on our YouTube channel is the surprising sign your blood sugar is improving. And I will link to that in the show notes, Brian. Thank you very much. But what that means is that if you've changed your eating habits and you're eating what I'll call cleaner foods for your blood sugar and your health, but you're eating cleaner, we'll say, and then you have some chips, you have a cupcake, and you don't feel good. Now your blood sugar might go up, but it's beyond blood sugar. You're tired, you're lethargic, you might even feel some aches and pains you don't normally feel. That means that you have changed your eating habits so much that your body can actually talk to you and tell you, hey, this thing I ate doesn't make me feel good. When we're in a state of consistently eating, I'll call it junk food, that we don't feel good, we don't feel energetic, then we are used to not feeling well. So we're not going to notice it any different when we eat junk food. But if you are eating in a more clean manner and then you have some junk food and you don't feel good, good news. You're feeling and eating better than you were before. So I would even say this is a good sign because you're able to listen to your body and your body can talk to you. And I actually just went through this the other day. My son turned 8. My oldest son turned 8. I have a second son, but he's the middle kid, so he sometimes gets forgotten. But my oldest son turned 8, and we made homemade cupcakes, and they were delicious. And I ate a lot of them on Sunday and on Monday. I did not feel energetic. I did not have a very good workout. I didn't even try running. I usually run on Mondays. It wasn't going to happen. So typically I'm eating pretty clean, and that weekend was a mess. We had a gala we went to, we ate some cupcakes. I'm not going to beat myself up. I chose to enjoy it and I enjoyed it. So that's what we mean by that. And I go into more depth in that video. Now, Brian, the Hawthorne effect, it made me think of something. When you're at work and you're on some Cincinnati Reds website or you're looking up a vacation and all of a sudden you hear your manager coming down the way, and this is when you would work, we used to work in person, and all of a sudden you sit up right and you chart up in front of you. It's like having a middleman. The CGM's like having a middle manager around you all the time. They are always going to report to their superiors and to yourself. I think that's a useful tool. Now, the other thing I wanted to go deeper on when you mentioned the blood sugar spike after food is it depends on the degree of the blood sugar spike. Like a little bit of a bump of 10, 20 points, okay, let's not freak out. But if it's going up 50, 100 points, and then I care about the area under the curve. So it can go up, but if it comes back down rapidly and you feel okay without getting like an overshoot and getting hypoglycemic, okay. But if you are high and it stays high for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, the rest of the day, the next day, that is also a concern. So we need to look at not just the fact does it go up, but how long does it stay up?
Yeah, thank you for those solid points. Back to the idea of the fear of food, Corey, is with this Hawthorne effect, when I'm seeing my blood sugar spike, it's making me afraid of certain food. I would really strong that person to reconsider the idea, the intention behind the CGM. It's more for awareness. You need to almost hold it as an objective viewer of the data instead of putting feelings and emotion behind it and just say, hey, okay, I'm not going to criticize what this is. This is just for my awareness. This is for my learning purposes. Instead of becoming afraid of this food, I can learn from it and then make better informed decisions next time. A little further detail on this is the blood sugar spike is not the full picture for everything. Like we talked about, like the feeling, the energy, the mood, the joint pain. But also, one thing I would not do is try to blunt a blood sugar spike by consuming more energy and calories. Basically, I can think of this as putting peanut butter on an apple to try to have more fat and protein. We'll put protein in quotes in there. I think it's hilarious that peanut butter jars put 7 grams of protein on the jar when they.
It's to distract you from this depressingly small serving size. Continue.
Yes. So I think all is to say, don't just try to play the food pairing game of blunting blood sugar responses from an apple by, say, adding so much more energy to it that is going to negate your efforts here in terms of creating a calorie deficit, ultimately losing body fat, specifically the fat around your organs, and restoring insulin resistance.
Yeah.
Anything else to add there?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And I think that one of the things that I really think about is avoid naked carbs. So I think there's a way to pair it with like a leaner protein with some natural fat. Like my favorite go-to if you're having some fruit is like a little cottage cheese, a little sugar-free yogurt, or like a low-fat mozzarella stick. So I think that would be a smarter choice for both which will also keep you fuller longer too. So like the goal here is maybe you blunt the spike with a higher protein option, and that combined with a higher protein and the fiber of the fruit will keep you fuller longer and keep you from overeating later. As you can hear and listen and see, there's a lot of nuance that goes into all of this, but I think to summarize, the CGM is a tool, but it can be overused and misused to a point where you're afraid of eating, and that's not useful. So you have to objectively look at it. So Brian, this is a rapid fire Friday, and this is rapidly turning into a deep dive, which, hey, if you're listening and you want to hear a deep dive episode of anything we're talking about, if you say, hey, you cut out that CGM topic too soon, I want a full episode on, send us a message and send us an email. We are here to serve you. So along those lines, we have another great question that we'll try to rapidly address, and that is, what exactly do I need to eat for better blood sugar? Question mark, exclamation point. Brian, rattle off 10 foods right now that you should eat for better blood sugar. Go. This is a rapid fire Friday. You didn't know I was going to do this to you. 10 foods off the top of your head. Let's go.
Chicken, white fish,
2,
Greek yogurt,
3,
some cabbage. Let's just
4,
throw cabbage in. I'm just trying to think through my normal diet here.
eggs, 5. I'll help you out.
Eggs. I like. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
More cruciferous vegetables. So broccoli, cauliflower. I'll pull that in as 6.
Yeah, don't be around me if I eat cauliflower. Man, this is.
Ground beef, 7.
Ground beef. Yeah, ground beef.
Lean
Why
pork,
is this harder
8.
than it? Why am I making this harder than
Turkey bacon, 9.
Maybe I'm just wondering what the actual blood sugar effect would be. I'm thinking more like nutrition.
Just give me one more. Just give us one more. Cottage cheese, 10 there.
Yeah, cottage cheese. Sure.
There. So there are 10 foods right now that you could go eat for better blood sugar. Now, the nuance behind this is it depends what you're eating now and what your response to what you're eating now is. And so I think that a lot of people are looking for guidance, just like, give me the foods to eat. And like the discussion with the CGM, everyone's blood sugar response and bodies are going to respond differently. You might have a list of food sensitivities that is 2 pages long. So all of the 10 things that we named, you might just say, I can't eat 9 of them. That would be useless to you. But I do think that having some basics, and I know that Brian and we are on repeat when we talk about this, but is starting with a lean-ish protein, pairing it with some sort of fiber, which is code for vegetables, and going from there. And it's sort of a food matrix where you pick a protein, you pick a fiber, And then you sprinkle in some of your energy sources, which I would say you want to, if you're going to have carbs, you want whole food carbs. So nothing that's processed like chips or white bread, but maybe a whole sweet potato or beans. But this depends on what your blood sugar response to those things are. You're going to get your energy from fats. And typically, when you're having a protein, fat naturally rides along with that protein, any sort of meat, eggs, dairy, but you don't want to overdo fat. You don't want to drizzle everything in heavy cream and everything in butter. So that's the rapid fire answer to what exactly I should eat for better blood sugar.
What I wanted to say was, I think it's just intuitive, is I think it comes down to it doesn't need an ingredient label
Mm.
to tell you what that is. That's what you should eat. If it's real food, that's really what you should focus on because at some point it's going to be satiety inducing and you're not going to be overeating it. And who cares if your blood sugar spikes up a little bit as long as you're ultimately in a calorie deficit and you're feeling good. That's what I think this ultimately comes down to is just it should not need an ingredient label to tell you what it is.
Yeah. And I would push back a bit on the intuitive idea because our food environment has stolen our intuition. We have, if you go back to our health halo episode, you can look at a label and it will say healthy, organic, farm, grass fed, whatever it is. And so if you see something that says healthy, or if it's packaged with a coloring or a font in a way to make it seem healthy, that intuition would guide you incorrectly because the intuition's been hijacked. And so that's why Brian and I are going to work on it might be an episode, it might be a couple episodes. Listen, we're building some of these airplanes on the fly while we're flying the plane, folks. But we want to put together an episode of the top 10, we just did the rapid 10 foods, which most of them will be. But I want to make sure that we also do this in a budget friendly way too, because if we just said filet mignon, like everything that's $13 a pound, that's not realistic for most people. And Brian, I have seen people lower blood sugar, come off medicines from every level of socioeconomic status. And it is inspiring and it is doable. But I would say it just takes intention.
Yeah.
You're off the hook. No more listing things for you.
Okay, good. I did pull up a list, but that's all right. I'll let it go because
it
goes a little bit deeper dive.
Yeah.
This is building like your transformational food list here because it basically pick carbs, fats, protein, veggie, sauces, some boosters, and you have.
It seems like a lot more than the rapid fire episode, Brian. I'm gonna say.
I want to end with this is that it's been shown you really only need 20 foods to be transformational. You can rotate through them, pick 20 foods that you like that can mix and match, and create a nice variety of a menu for you.
So what I'm hearing is exactly what you should be eating is figuring out a nice list of, we'll say 20 foods. Maybe we'll do a 20 food episode, how we can go through and create that. But I would agree that the people that have the most success are the ones that keep it the most simple. We're not trying to create a new dish every day. And I know it sounds very counterintuitive in our food abundant culture to eat the same thing repeatedly, but there comes a point where you can make things that are tasty, nutritious, nourishing, and consistent. So I would say that the less you have to think about your food decisions, the less bad decisions you can make. The less you say, you can avoid sounding dumb, which is the opposite of what I do on the show. So, all right, let's move on to our final question, Brian. And I think building on our food topic, how do you build confidence around food instead of fear?
Skills and practice and time, consistency.
Skills, practice, time, and consistency. That you took that few words to heart there, Brian. So
there you go.
So yeah, skills.
What I mean by skills, I mean learning how to cook, figuring out a way that makes it just you enjoy cooking. I think air fryers are a great tool. If you'd rather not get fancy, I think just sticking to basically recipes, what you just cook individual ingredients and then you mix them up together. Yeah.
So cooking, I will say shopping is a skill too. Brian has seen me grocery shop, and I'm like a shark.
Dude is like a sniper. I mean, literally just know what you want and you just go get it and your blinders on. And I don't know how you do it, man. You put me in Whole Foods and I won't walk out there with spending way more than I intended on buying when I got there.
So we talk skills. So we have cooking and shopping. We talk about the next one is practice. So how do I do it? I've practiced this. I've actually simplified. I only shop at 2 stores. So I know exactly where the things are in those 2 stores. I practice this routine. I make my grocery list the same day every week when the weekly mailer comes out so I can look at what's on sale, especially when we're looking at trying to shop on a budget. What proteins are on sale that week? Is it chicken breast? Is it ground beef? Is it pork? What is it? And then I go hone in on those. All right. So you have skills. And the practice involves messing up sometimes, Brian. Like you're going to cook, you're going to mess up recipes. If you're my wife, you'll add way too much salt. She doesn't listen to this, so I can say it. It's okay. I make a whole joke about how much salt she adds to food in my second book. I guess I'm a dad now. And my editor was like, do you really want to be that mean to your wife? And I said, yes. Moving on. So practice means messing up sometimes. I mean, we coach Little League Baseball. Our practices are where you mess up. And instead of thinking of it as like a slip up, think of it as learning opportunity, right?
Yep.
All right. So
Curiosity over criticism. Okay, go ahead.
So it's skills. We have practice. What do we have?
Consistency over time.
Over time. So
That's
doing
equal
the same
confidence.
little things over time, and it compounds. So
Yeah.
the Brian, I bet you get compliments on your physique, right? Random strangers, friends, enemies.
Yeah.
And you didn't build that body overnight. It has been literally years of doing that. And for myself, since I was in middle school, I've been getting up before work or school and doing some form of exercise. It's literally 25 years of consistent exercise. And the diet and the cooking has just, again, become a routine. I don't have to think about it so much. So just know that as you implement these new changes, it will take time, right, Brian? It will take observation, it will take learning, it will take curiosity. But I think that's how you do it, is you can build that confidence by practicing. It's like public speaking. The first time you speak publicly, you probably shouldn't be that confident because you've never done it before. But myself, I've been on stage thousands of times. So I get in front of people, I don't think twice about it. But I have some people who look at that and are just like, I could never do that. Well, I look at people who can solve a Rubik's Cube like my son. Feels like I can never do that, but I've never practiced it. Why would that be an expectation that you could do it?
Confidence comes from competence. There you go. That's it.
Yeah. Competence comes from practice and learning
and
and doing it. So, Brian, any final words? These are some really good questions this week. And I like that we had a little contention there.
Just keep sending questions.
Yeah.
Especially extensive ones. I love the long emails. They're great. Yeah, that's it. Keep sending questions.
Yeah, stay curious. If this has resonated with you, share with a friend. If you're in a group chat with a bunch of people who are trying to figure out their path to better health, share this episode in a group chat.
Or a Facebook group.
Yes.
There's lots of questions in Facebook. Maybe I should go scour some Facebook groups for some questions.
I think we just gave Brian a mission here. Like me, Brian goes into Facebook groups like I go into grocery stores. He is very good at that. So we appreciate everyone listening. We appreciate the questions. We love the stories that we are hearing from our listeners who are improving their blood sugar, improving their lives, getting their health back. Until next time, we'll hear you here on the Diabetes Remission Roadmap podcast. Keep it simple and do what works.